I think you push right now, right down the mid lane. If you're Quantic.
Up in 40
Rattlesnake,
seconds, there is actually no buyback on Wisp, though they certainly don't know that. I don't think they could really get there in time, but they could get the lane pushed in.
Well, they're gonna definitely try. Although you see rest of Quantic doing a very good job. Even the Lich is split pushing. So, and Lich is not gonna get punished. There's no prof in this game. There's no.
It's kind of pathetic though, watching Lich split push.
She's got that drum. So that creep wave is going hard. And look, even Frost armor on that melee creep tanking in the front line. Every little bit helps.
Meanwhile, a flock of familiars flying high. You know, it's the Ags on the Visage is really a double-edged sword here, because he gave away a lot of gold. That was 300 familiar gold to the Sven. They got a courier kill. He got a bunch of other hero kills. Visage can feel quite useless against these huge right-click heroes in the mid-game.
Well, we do have a butterfly back up here on Gyrocopter, and definitely there is no double scythe this game. Deal with that.
Darkseer not even going for one, actually. There was effing mad. He went for the point booster. He goes back for a force staff. Just wants to try and run from Rattlesnake while their BKBs are up and then turn around. But it means no scythe for him, and nobody else is going to build one anytime soon. Your Lich has a Ghost Scepter, so if they get a scythe, it'll be like a 45, 50-minute scythe, probably.
Yeah, I actually like the force staff quite a bit on effing man for both defensive and offensive purposes. If you see the enemy team clump up, you force yourself in for a big vacuum. But more importantly, if your Sven gets Beastmaster Roar, for example, you can force him out. So it's pretty good as an item, and I like the fact that he picked it up.
Yeah, generally having something like that, or a Shadow Demon, some great single target ability to disengage, is really helpful against the Beastmaster. As a Gyrocopter missile actually flies in, I think they know they're smoked because of that. Because it just flew in there, and it doesn't affect invisible units. So
Rattlesnake goes for this push right now with Aegis running out in about 10 seconds or so. And
do they actually want to fight? If they lose one big fight now, Sven gets his next item, and your item progression is completely halted, and you're pushing into a very strong 5-man lineup. If they do this, well, proceed cautiously. Do not force the fight.
Yeah, don't drop fall down and all your ultimate for Go Black. Save it for Sven.
He does have an Ogre Club, Lumi. Don't underestimate him. BKB's coming.
And 3 Bracer on Go Black. He's actually quite tanky.
That's the funny thing, is when someone has 3 Bracers, that is basically, it's the it's, you know, like the scarlet letter that you are poor and fairly useless as a support. But
I mean, on
if they're focusing you, you're very useful.
On a Leshrac, you just run in with Pulse Nova turned on with all your strength item. I don't think it's that bad, actually.
Yeah, there's a lot of BKBs, though. Rattlesnake backing off now. They'll go back for Assange on Icy. It looks like Heaven's Halberd is the choice, and, well, it doesn't really help you against those BKB carries is the one issue. You can always BKB to remove that, but it does give you some evasion, and evasion for the time being seems very cost-effective.
Heaven's Halberd, though, is
yeah, but Sven's got a BKB, so
well, his BKB eventually will...
That's true.
Yeah.
If the game goes longer, then this item actually gets a lot more powerful, which is kind of weird to say. Normally it's seen as more of a mid-game item, but... this is, again, going back to what we talked about before, these BKB usages for Sakshka are very precious.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, evasion will not help you against cleaves.
That's correct.
Okay.
It does help you against some things that are like not actually cleaves, like Gyrocopter's Flak, but against actual cleave, if Sakshka is hitting a unit next to someone with evasion, they still take the damage. They can't evade it.
Oh, here comes Funzy. He's got an Invis Room. Nice pickup. There's no detection up this hill, and generally when you're taking out a big stack like this, like Rattlesnake, sometimes it's just safer to have like a sentry over here to see if you're getting run in like that. But for now, they dodge a big Quantic smoke, and they're just farming away.
They've got their flock of familiars. I do feel like the familiars have kind of not been as useful in the mid game as I thought they would. You get an Ags, you expect them to be able to block a lot of camps and just constantly be scouting, but they're kind of just sitting around as 3. I feel like they could be doing a bit more here. Yeah. Now he's split pushing, but these are just dead. He's got to resummon.
He's going to have to summon him right now.
Yeah, that's 300 gold.
You're not flying them out there. Come on.
Good luck.
There you go.
He was like, man, I really don't... That's
a long
That
cooldown.
resummon has nearly 3 minutes.
Yeah, it does.
It lasts a long time.
Well, they do know where the enemy team is for that resummon, so I guess that's valuable information. Here comes Quantic for a push.
Oh, here comes the big team fight. Rattlesnake, Icy in the front lines, looking to go. The Chaos Bolt's there. The Roar is in. He never got off his BKB. Can he get home in time? He can't. Now the Chain Frost doing virtually nothing. Silent to fall. They got the initiation, and that's all she wrote. Quantic getting wiped here. 3 dead on the back foot. Roche coming up in about a minute and a half.
Neil's dying to the wall. Neil's dying to the wall.
Oh,
These
God.
illusions are...
Still a great fight, but a clowny little conclusion there.
Well, I mean, I just have to say that Lamb picking up both Blink Dagger and Axe Scepter means his Roar is literally coming off like 4 screens away, and these guys have not rolled down Roche timing? They all ult in. It's like, oh, Roshan's not here. Let's go
That's.
back
I think that's one of those fights where you're like, you're just like so hyped
Oh,
when
you're
you
in
have
drill.
it.
It's like, go Rosh, go Rosh.
Because that's. Oh,
Oh.
there's no Roche.
Okay.
What do we do?
Let's go farm.
Let's go farm.
That's not bad, you know. Enemy team's dead. Unfortunately, they weren't able to push off of that, so that's some missed value. But I mean, if you are Quantic and you're losing this game to a Beastmaster, roaring your Sven every time, how much Sven is gonna give you? I really don't think Quantic really take heads-on team fights anymore.
They can't. I think they want to counter-initiate.
Yes.
Like when Rattlesnake jumps them, ideally you want to kind of wait out the BKBs, then you vac, you Stormbolt, and you jump in with the Tether Stun, the Chain Frost. If they're forced to initiate, then, well, the chances of actually catching everyone Rattlesnake, pretty slim. Because there's a lot of BKBs on the key heroes now, the Sven and the Gyro. There's a lot of tanky supports. Quantic have to counter-initiate. Either that or just find solo heroes. If they're initiating in a 5v5, I feel their chances of winning that are very slim.
Also, I do want to point out that there is one tactic available to Quantic is backdooring with your Sven and Wisp.
Ooh.
It's not exactly...
It's not quite a tiny, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you have a ton of burst damage output, so especially with God Strength turned on. Unfortunately, Go Blacks got spotted out.
Roche is up now, though. The Hawk flying around. It's the Air Force of Rattlesnake.
The familiars,
on the
what do you
move.
do?
They're catching out Godblack. He's a little bit isolated. The Tether's there to the
look
Sven.
at the roar.
Once again, caught by the Roar, but there's no follow-up this time around. So the Roar goes through. The Chaos Knight does find a kill on Godblack, but here comes big, bad Daddy Sven. He wants a kill. He can't get one. Luo able to live. He needed more crits. He needed more cleave. He doesn't have enough yet. They do find one, but now the BKB is down. Sakshka gets another, but on the run, and in the end, it's a 2 for 2. Fairly even trade, I guess, there.
Yeah, I mean, they use the Beastmaster Roar as a counter-initiate to save the Crystal Maiden.
Now there's a Satanic, though, on Gyro. Ooh, that hurts.
I mean, Satanic is a nice item to get yourself a little bit of burst HP, but if you don't activate your Satanic quick enough, aka if you get bursted down by a 1k crit, I'm not sure if it matters, but the actual HP component of the Reaver is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and of course, if he doesn't die during that initial burst, then he's Satanic, and he's going to heal most of it back up.
Yep. And are they actually thinking about Roshan here? Chain Frost is down.
You know
Vacuum
Wall's
Wall is
down.
down. Yeah, so...
Good. Again, Rattlesnake, in game 1, I feel, well, they had a good start in the tri lane, but I think the thing that sealed the deal for them was when they recognized they could take Roche and there was nothing Quantic could do about it. And in game 3, they're doing that same thing again. There's nothing Quantic can do about this Roche. They get it now on Luo, and now he's basically got 2 lives.
Yeah.
Maybe even 3 with the Satanic.
Well, I think a lot of Luo's effectiveness also depends on whether he has Flat Cannon up and also whether his allies are alive. If his allies aren't alive, then...
Yeah, the Gyro's not going to win in a man fight 1v like 3 or 4. That's for
Right.
damn sure.
Well, it also depends on his flak, if he has enough flak damage, but...
If you're Quantic now, it's of the utmost priority for all your supports to get Ghost Scepters and Force Staves, because otherwise you just die to the flak and you're useless. And right now, Godblack, well, there's no room in his inventory for anything.
Oh, he's got to
like
sell a Bracer, but yeah, he's...
Blink, Roar again from Lamb. He's done it, but the great defensive Force Staff. Bunty keeping
Reality
him
Rift.
safe. It was actually a double force. They almost caught him anyway.
And that's why we say that Force Staff is really good against the Beastmaster, right? I mean, normally anybody dies to that Blink Roar from afar, but...
Yeah, you see some interesting stats here about who you want to focus when you've got Cleave. So, again, shout out to Vikraman for dropping the knowledge bombs. But now there's Cheese and Chaos Knight. Quantic, they have to counter-initiate, especially now. With Cheese and Aegis, if you go in, even if you kill those heroes, they come back the second round and they kill you.
Yeah, I wonder exactly what Rattlesnake is thinking about. Or do they feel like they're not strong enough to initiate all these birds? The triple stunning and...
Is that really... He doesn't have a what is the...
8 seconds.
What's your plan here? That's
oh,
just 300 gold.
Cleave, bam! Oh,
Well, if they get a... Where's the crits?
Okay, that's not so bad.
Okay. Looked bad.
Okay.
No Sven crits.
No, he never got attack off.
He got... I think he got one or two.
One attack off? Okay.
Yeah.
He
No
should have
crits.
turned on Zolt for that. It's like, free gold, 300.
Well, now he's got the resummon up. And now Sagam... I love these item pickups for Rattlesnake. Shiva's Guard now coming out for the Visage.
Yep.
Another item that's great just for slowing down a melee carry. You can kite him with the actual move speed slow when he's not BKB'd, and you still get that attack speed slow. More armor for the Visage. We saw in the last fight, Sakshka, he got a decent combo off there. He hit a couple of heroes, did a lot of damage, brought Icy low, brought the Gyro low, but couldn't kill them. That was before Aegis, that was before Satanic, that was before Cheese, and that was before what's coming now, which is going to be the Shiva's Guard for the Visage.
Looks like they're striking up the high ground here with the CK illusions. Oh, that tower just melts with the birds.
It's all about effing Mad here. He needs a great vacuum. The vacuum's got to be just right. Can he find it? It's hard for him to go in. He doesn't have a Blink Dagger. Still the familiar, slowing things down. They're just going to siege with some illusions here from the Chaos Knight. Now they come in from the sideline. Here's Sven. The Chaos Bolt to fly, slowing down Funzy. He's going straight on Luo. Luo Satanic up, and he's tanking it all. Turns it around. Now they pull in effing Mad, who's on the run. Can he get out?
Sven bites back, but no ultimate.
Goblak now on the run as well, and Icy giving chase. There's your 2-second stun. Goblak sure to fall down to the barrage, and this might be the end of Quantic. 35-19 your score. 41 minutes in. Rattlesnake didn't use the Aegis there. The Chi's still online. They take away the
vacuum stun, and the cleaves are coming out, but he does not have God Strength. He gets stunned up, and the stunning just layers upon layers on Sock, and he's forced to go back. Crystal Maiden says, prevention ultimate, baby. And now coming back as Silent, thanks to a couple of nukes, and he goes down.
One lane of Rex. Imagine if he had BKB. Imagine if he had his God Strength up there. Could have been a different fight.
That would have been a team
But that was the problem, is Rattlesnake had the insurance plan. They had the Aegis, they had the Cheese, they had the BKBs. They could afford to force Quantic to use that and then just back off. Even get a kill or two, live through it all. Even if Sven gets a kill there, Gyro's still coming back with Satanic online and a BKB just about cooling down.
Yeah, he still has that Aegis. Let's not forget about that one.
That's the thing, is even if they kill him once, he's got another life. Now they're going in bottom lane. They've got him back here. Back into Storm mode. Amazing combo. Chain Frost is in. Maybe it's enough. I'm not sure yet. Luo's still tanking it out. Duking it out. Satanic's online. Not even bothering to pop it yet. Now he'll unload. Focusing effing Mad, who's low, but not dead yet. The melee Rex stands. The hero board brings it down. Lamb blinking forward. Diving them to the well.
Axis, chops
Double kill off with his head. And that probably is it. Quantic,
wow.
GG. Rattlesnake, they've done it. They've beaten the Wisp.
That's got to be scary if you're Quantic.
You got to feel good if you're Rattlesnake, because this is like, we could have done it in game 2, and now we've shown you we're not afraid of your Wisp. We'll give it away, and we'll beat it.
How amazing is Lance Beastmaster this game, because he has found every single kind of utility item. Went Mech first, Arcane, and then it was Ags and Blink. And it doesn't matter how many items Sven has, he just got locked down pretty much every single team fight.
They had such a good lineup for dealing with the Sven. The Beastmaster roar slow, the actual roar itself. They had the gyrocopter cooldown slow. And the other thing was they got ahead early. Better movement from them. Great performance from Rattlesnake.
And the biggest thing about this game is CK says, screw you, Wisp. I got this thing by myself. I can still win game.
Wisp is still the one with like 10 other boyfriends, you know.
That's fine.
In the phone directory.
Wisp's got some swag.
Chaos Knight is still lamenting the loss of his Wisp.
All right, that's fair. But let's send it back to analysts and see what they think about this game.
Lon N definitely MVP.
Yeah, he played really well. I think effing Mad maybe slacked a little bit. He probably could have played better, but that is a pretty tough matchup. It does go both ways though, Darkseer versus Beastmaster, but he snowballed off of those kills and then CM rotated for the gank. And he did get Rune Luck. I mean, it would have made a big difference. Maybe effing Mad would have had an extra 200 HP, and then the combo wouldn't have been viable. So that made a huge impact. I think all the other lanes for Quantic went really well. The game was extremely close, despite the huge kill deficiency, even at the end of the game. So as a whole, I think Quantic played it really well. Just things didn't quite combo perfectly, and they had the heroes to do it. They had Darkseer with Sven and a Leshrac, but it just never really happened.
Yeah, I don't think they should be giving away Gyrocopter as much as they have been doing either. Gyrocopter is just such a good hero. He was like really underfarmed at one point, but he just took the Ancient stat, got his BKB, and after that, Butterfly Satanic, and he was unkillable at the end. And he is just really good at man-moding versus Sven, because Sven usually does not get MKB, and if you usually can't farm up that Butterfly. You're forced to get BKB, or else you're just Sven Sun into a Tether Sun, and then follow up Leshrac Sun, and then you just die. So you have to get BKB, and then you need, like, if you just get straight up Satanic, you don't really do any damage, so you need the Butterfly too. But I mean, Sven couldn't really keep up with him. I mean, that Boar Stun was
I feel so bad.
I feel his pain. I don't really want to say that was like a turning point, but that was really their time to shine. Like before Gyro gets BKB, like when they're all like turning tail and running, they can just chase people down with all these stuns, and it just,
and all their movement speed as well. Like Lich is really fast. They had a Darkseer, they had a Wisp, they had Sven with his Warcry. Warcry. That's his armor one. So they had a lot of options, and I never really saw a good Chain Frost with the exception of the one team fight by the Dire Ancient camp. That one bounced around forever and made their fight actually end up pretty okay. But I mean, they should have been able to wombo combo at some point, but they weren't able to pull it together before the BKBs came out. And once the BKBs come out, Vacuum doesn't snag you, and Chain Frost does 0 damage, just does a little bit of slow. So I don't know. I think Quantic played pretty darn well, but it just didn't quite come together. I think they needed Darkseer to do a bit better, and they needed their combos to come, and it never happened.
Yeah,
except
just got
for,
a
like,
little bit
once.
too far behind early and was just really scrambling to snowball, but they just couldn't get it
They
off.
were very close. I really
close,
do think
yeah.
they were very close. And
But, I mean, they had Wisp that game, and
Yep.
a Western team losing to an Eastern team with Wisp is very unusual.
yeah, I think the one thing that I would say about that is that Wisp Sven is great for cleaving AoE, but it's not as good at ganking at all, because you have a 2-second stun with your Stormbolt, and then you have the Wisp Tether stun, but it's not as reliable as like a Chaos Knight is. And you probably should pop your ulti when you do those ganks, because there's a chance that you wouldn't have enough burst damage.
Yeah.
So while it does like cleave really well in team fights, the gank potential isn't the same. So you can't just like do okay in the early game and then snowball and kills while farming.
Yeah, they just relied on him a little bit too much. He does great versus CK and cleaving down his images, but when you have that many disables to deal with, when you have the CK in your face, when you have the Beastmaster Roar and not
Yeah.
really any other sort of damage, I mean, they have wall, but it's not that great. They
that's
just
very right.
really lacked on. They just put too many eggs in one basket, I feel like.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So that's going to make it 2-1, 2 points there for Rattlesnake. It's pretty good.
Your prediction's wrong, too.
Dang it, you're right. I
Dang.
didn't even realize. 'Cause
No.
You see my disappointment? That was live. Wow.
It's
So-
okay. We
in-
feel together.
In the running, I think LD is the only one that's left. You said 3-1?
3-1 Rattlesnake.
Yeah.
So if Rattlesnake wins this next game, all your rares belong to me. But they have to win.
They have to win.
If they lose and then they win the next game,
How
then
do they look, though? Game 1, they kind of...
I think they look more solid. Like, honestly, I think they should have won game 2 if they played it just right. I think in game 3, they had like their game plan was super solid.
I think Quantic should have won game 1. though.
Where the hell is Quantic picks?
I can't even remember game 1 that well.
Where's
to
the
be
Game
honest.
gold
one's
black
the-
I remember
picks?
the
Fat Rider
Roach.
Shadow
The,
Fiend.
the picks are in the first stage of bans. That's where they are.
Yeah,
The
game
tree? Come
that's
on.
true. Game 1 was Quantic really not.
What happened to my
playing their hand
Pugna SD Naga offensive trial?
Yeah, where are these picks?
We're like, I hyped it up so much.
Even
Lumi,
Rattlesnake
you said Goblek would have 5 strategies. I've seen one.
I've
I
seen
think,
one, and most of it are in the
which
ban.
is Wisp. We
Well,
need.
that's not
it's
even a
time-
strat.
Yeah.
That's just like, oh, Wisp.
Of course, Goblek has had some brilliant drafts in the past, so we
Yeah.
can't count him out yet. But Rattlesnake continue to ban Treant, continue to ban OD. What are they going to turn to?
I don't know. They need to go big, or they're gonna go home after
Okay.
one more game.
Well, guys,
It's
we'll
not
take a
good.
very quick break. We'll get some water. Don't leave, though, because Game 4 is coming up right now. Rattlesnake have Quantic right where they want them, on the ropes, leading 2-1. It's a best of 5. Rattlesnake 1 win away from moving on. Whoever wins this series goes into the big dance. They start the group stages tomorrow. $2.8 million and rising. Go get your compendiums now and stay with us. Game 4 after this. Welcome back to the International 3 at the Beyond the Summit studio. I'm LD.
I'm Luminous.
You don't like doing that, do you? Do you want me to introduce you?
Nah, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's game number 4. Quantic Gaming now trailing 1-2 in the best of 5. Backs against the wall. Nowhere to run. Nowhere to hide. They've got to win 2 in a row or Rattlesnake are advancing into the main event. The main event scheduled to kick off tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Bright and early for us.
Mm-hmm.
I overslept a little bit. Lumi and I were supposed to do our pre-game, our pre-TI3
I showed up at 9:30.
Didn't happen, but should happen tomorrow before the games, or certainly afterwards. So with that being said, the draft's now underway.
Look at this draft.
And interesting set of bans and picks. Rattlesnake have done it. They've shook Quantic's confidence in the Wisp pick.
Yep.
They don't ban it, and Quantic doesn't pick it.
And they forced actually Quantic to pick it.
To ban it.
To ban it. I don't even think Rattlesnake was interested in this.
This is very clever.
I know. It's like, we have the CK first. You could have the Wisp. It's yours.
You know, it's like they were just baiting Quantic into going for Wisp those 2 previous games. Just to, because sure, I mean, obviously Wisp is strong.
Baiting a Western team to play Wisp? I don't know.
Didn't it feel like it, though? I mean,
I
like
guess so.
They had second pick both games. They knew they were giving it away.
Right. They're purposely giving it away.
They were confident they could deal with it. They wanted Quantic to take it because they know they're going to. I mean, every Western team takes Wisp, pretty much. Well, they've bamboozled Quantic here. I'm slightly taken aback.
Yeah,
Quantic just... I think ultimately for Quantic, though, they're a team that got where they did doing creative and innovative stuff. Don't mess with that formula too much.
I mean, it's not that they can't play standard. And today they've been playing standard okay.
Yeah.
But are they playing...
It's not their best mode, I think.
Right. Are they playing good enough to play against Rattlesnake's standard game?
As much as I'm a huge Goblet fan, all the French boys are effing mad. Fantastic personality, adds a lot to the scene. I do feel like Rattlesnake's a slightly more solid team once they get past the laning stage. So I think for Quantic, I like what they've done here because they've gotten a Visage, so they can really force some fights in the lanes. And instead of just sitting back, playing defensively, dominate the lanes and then snowball. That's modus operandi for Quantic here.
Yeah, I also really like Nature's Prophet as a hero so far because I feel like one of Rattlesnake's weakness is that generally they're not that good dealing with split push. They have multiple cores and that alone is okay, but at the same time, Nature's Prophet, once he gets a late game scythe, he can give your team a lot of late game power. Although Chaos Knight and Weaver, these are 2 very powerful late game hero, Wisp or not, so...
So if you're Quantic here, do you go kind of old Virtus Pro from a few months back, safe lane Prophet, aggressive tri-lane Visage, and just try and 4-man the enemy safe lane? Push down some early towers, snowball.
I mean, if you go aggressive tri-lane, you're either going into a Chaos Knight or a Weaver. Because,
and Visage isn't good against Weaver, has no stun.
Right. Chaos Knight is unnaturally tanky with if you pick up a magic stick, so it's hard for them to...
I think Rattlesnake do anticipate it, though. Because they ban a Gyro here, and Weaver does okay against Gyro. He's not going to die. He'll get some levels. So if they were expecting a safe lane Gyro, I don't think they would have worried that much about it. I think they do expect Quantic to go aggressive tri-lane, and... it is worth mentioning there's still a Lifestealer in the pool, but if you go Lifestealer, you're going Lifestealer against Weaver and Chaos Knight. And Chaos Knight's actually, it can go either way in terms of who comes out on top of that matchup. If he gets enough farm and he's got illusions, Lifestealer isn't good against illusion-based heroes. He's a single target hero by and large, and obviously we all know how good Weaver can be against Lifestealer. So I think banning the Gyro, that was the best aggressive tri-lane carry left to Quantic, and it's a smart ban.
Yeah, now you pick up a Keeper of Light. How do you go offensive tri-lane against this, where Illuminate blasted you every time?
And this works out really well, because then Quantic picked Chen, which is even more push.
I mean... Blinding Light is going to be okay throughout most of the game, but Illuminate is going to just wreck a lot of these support heroes. So I feel like Rattlesnake is, for most of today, is actually pretty outdrafting Quantic, if I could even say that against Go Black.
I think they've just sort of anticipated their moves with the draft. But now Quantic have had 2 games to see how Rattlesnake likes to draft. They didn't go for the Wisp this time, so they've definitely made an adjustment mentally. What are these last 2 picks going to be? They started off with some...
Oh my goodness.
There's still a Lifestealer in the pool, by the way. I guess they wouldn't pick it now, because they already have...
Unless you have your Lifestealer as a jungle support or something,
Well, if Quantic aren't going to go aggressive, I mean, we have seen teams run that greedy jungle Lifestealer before. Hell, I remember casting a game where Puppy played jungle Lone Druid, went double Midas, and they won. So I'm just saying it could happen. I don't think it will, though.
That's just Navi being a lot better than a lot of teams and could do whatever they want to do. But
it would be fun. But yeah, right. We probably won't see it. So what do you think for Quantic now? Because they still haven't really tipped their hand.
Ooh, Tinker.
Blast from the past. You remember? Yeah. This is something that MTW used to do a lot. Last year...
Cinder picked this a lot.
Yeah. I believe it's the Funzy Tinker, right?
I think so. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it was Funzy playing that one like every single game. And interesting to go for Tinker and Prophet, because you're up against Storm and Chaos Knight, who are pretty good heroes to just hunt them around the map.
Well, I mean, who hunts who, right? That's a big question. Because if you get a Scythe of Ice on either of these heroes, Storm is going to get hunted. So
if you ever watch Tom and Jerry, it's Tom chasing Jerry, but then Jerry finds a knife or sets a trap, and all of a sudden the cat's running from the mouse. Yeah,
the big bulldog. I always hated that dog.
Yeah. So Lone Druid ban out by Rattlesnake here.
Not the player Bulldog.